Hi there, my name's Gemma. I'm a story and a song. This is my first video for YouTube, and I thought I would start off with the YouTube newbie tag, just to give myself a bit of an introduction, let you guys know what sort of things I like, where I'm coming from, that sort of thing. I am joining you from Scotland, just outside of Glasgow. You can probably tell from my accent. I've lived here pretty much all my life. I really enjoy living in Scotland. At the moment, we're having some unseasonably nice weather. So it's what we here in Glasgow call taps aff weather, aka all the men take their tops off. So I am 34 years old. I just turned 34 last month, and I'm aware that I'm slightly older than your average YouTuber. Everyone else seems to be in their sort of, you know, teens up to 20s. I've not really come across many people who are older than that. I would love to know some older YouTubers. So if you have any recommendations for booktubers over 30, if you link them for me down below, I would love to know. So I have joined Booktube basically as a sort of creative outlet for myself. I love reading, I love stories in general. I also love, you know, like movies and audiobooks and podcasts, everything like that. So what I really wanted was to get involved in the community here and make sure that I can join in on a better level. So the meaning behind my channel name, there's not much of a meaning behind it. A Story and a Song is the name of an album by a band called Between the Trees, who were, I suppose, one of the emo bands of the early 2000s, and I just really like the name, so I stole it. What type of books do I want to read or talk about here? I will more than likely mainly talk about fantasy novels. I like adult and young adult fantasy. I like sci-fi, like thriller, love interesting non-fiction, all that kind of stuff. I'll basically read anything as long as it's not nailed down to a surface. And biographies of sports people, I don't read any of them. So at the moment, I am currently reading the Kitty Norville series by Carrie Vaughan. The next one of which will be Kitty and the Silver Bullet. Kitty is a werewolf. Not that far into the series, there's about 15 books, and I think this one will be number 5. So really good, really easy to read, good premise, just one that you can get through, you know, pretty quickly and enjoy the characters. So in terms of some of my favourite authors, I really do love, you know, authors like Robert Jordan. Really into the Wheel of Time series, have been since I was in my very early teens, you know, 10, 11 years old. I also love, you know, John Connolly, who writes thrillers, crime detective novels. I'm discovering I like Jay Kristoff. I hadn't come across him before. So there's quite a few people that I like. I'm always looking for new recommendations, both in ebook form if it's an indie author, and traditional print as well. So the last book that I read was another one in the Kitty Norville series. It was Kitty Takes a Vacation, or Kitty Takes a Holiday, one of the two. And I read that yesterday. As I say, it only took me a couple of hours, they're not very long. So in what I am currently reading, as I said, I am going to be reading Kitty and the Silver Bullet next. And what I use for bookmarks, I'll use anything as a bookmark. My family do buy me bookmarks from places, which I love. But also I will use a bill, I will use a receipt, I will dog-ear a page, I will use whatever. So my current TBR pile I'm not going to show separately because I'm going to do a video about my TBR. It'll be my TBR for 5 weeks, so from the last week in April and then May. And in terms of what I prefer, hardcover or ebook, paperback, I actually really prefer a paperback because I like to take my books with me. Either a paperback or an ebook is easier for me to cart around. I prefer paperbacks because I like to read in the bath, and I don't feel safe with my Kindle in the bath. So what book or series got me into reading? I would say that would be The Belgariad by David Eddings. It's a very tropey series. There's 5 books. And it starts off with, you know, a hidden king, and there's evil gods and sorcerers and all that kind of stuff. It's very tropey. It's probably, you could read it at middle grade, young adult. And while there are problems with David Eddings' writing, you know, a lot of gender essentialist stuff, some things looking back on could maybe be seen as a bit racist, I don't know. But that was the books that I grew up reading. I was actually told it as a child because my aunt couldn't think of a traditional story, so she told me the story of the Belgariad instead. So how did I discover Booktube? I have been unwell for about a month, and I needed things to distract me. I have mental health problems, so going through Booktube actually really encouraged me to find reading again, which I'm totally grateful for. Quite emotional about actually, because I used to read a lot, and then I kind of lost that a bit, so I've now got it back and I'm really pleased about that fact. What challenges do I think I'll face? I think it'll be my own self-consciousness. I'm self-conscious about being in front of the camera, you know, what my hair looks like, what my background looks like, and also being a bit older than other booktubers I've come across. So, you know, it's one of those things. I'll just need to get used to being in front of the camera. So where else can I be found? I am on Instagram, I am on Twitter, I'm also occasionally on Tumblr as well. At the moment, I'm kind of avoiding some fandom things because of the season finale of Magicians, which totally depressed me, and honestly, I can't even talk about it. It's just the worst. So that's the other places you can find me. I'm always looking for recommendations for new channels, especially sci-fi, fantasy and adult fantasy as well. So if anyone has any good suggestions, please leave them down below. I will be following this up with my TBR pile and possibly, you know, a top 5, something like that, just to sort of ease myself in. So that's everything from me. Thanks very much, YouTube. Take care. Bye.